A big win for Anil Ambani from the Supreme Court. One verdict, 186 crore straight benefit. Can a dispute smoldering on paper for years suddenly turn into a windfall of crores for a businessman? Can a single court order become a lifeline for a sinking empire? And in the world of power, does electricity only flow through wires or through legal verdicts too? This time, the real power battle wasn't in a plant, but in the Supreme Court, where a verdict lit a spark that transferred 186 crore directly into Anil Ambani's account. This isn't just a story about a court ruling. It's a tale involving Adani Power, Rajasthan discoms, Coal India, and a prolonged legal tug-of-war that has finally reached a decisive turning point. Today, we'll explore this high-voltage legal victory in detail. But before we begin, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. Let's begin today's discussion without further delay. The whole story begins in 2009, when Adani Power signed an agreement with 4 major discom companies of Rajasthan for the supply of 1200 megawatts of electricity from the 𝐮𝐬𝐽 power project. These companies were Jaipur, Jodhpur, Ajmer Vidyut Vitran Nigam, and Rajasthan Urja Vikas Nigam. The electricity supply was agreed upon at a tariff of 3.2 rupees per unit, and the entire deal was approved by the Rajasthan Electricity Regulatory Commission (rerc). Everything was proceeding normally until a notification in 2017 changed the game. Coal India Limited, a government-owned company, issued a notification imposing a 50 rupees per ton export facility charge (EFC). This additional charge directly impacted the cost of electricity generation. Adani Power termed this an instance of change in law and demanded compensation under Article 10 of the Power Purchase Agreement (PPA). However, the discom companies of Rajasthan ignored this demand. No clear response came from them. Consequently, Adani Power approached the Rajasthan Electricity Regulatory Commission (rerc), which partially upheld Adani's claim. But the matter didn't end there. Both parties, Adani and the Rajasthan discoms, took the issue to the Electricity Appellate Tribunal (aptel). In April 2024, aptel ruled in favor of Adani Power. It clearly stated that the new charge imposed by Coal India, a government entity, constitutes a statutory change and should be treated as a change in law. Therefore, according to the terms of the PPA contract, the power producer is entitled to financial compensation. Rajasthan's 4 electricity distribution companies challenged this decision in the Supreme Court. They argued that Adani had deliberately delayed the matter and was thus responsible for the consequences. They labeled the aptel ruling as allowing undue enrichment and deemed it unfair. Their contention was that the ruling gave Adani an excessive financial advantage, which went against the spirit of the contract. However, the Supreme Court dismissed these arguments. The bench, comprising Justice M.M. Sundaresh and Justice Rajesh Bindal, held that the appeal lacked merit. They upheld aptel's decision and confirmed that the charge imposed by Coal India qualifies as a change in law. As a result of this ruling, Adani Power Rajasthan Ltd will now receive compensation amounting to 186 crore. The significance of this verdict extends far beyond Adani's financial gain. It marks a milestone in India's energy policy, corporate contracts, and the legal interpretation of power purchase agreements, PPAs. The court has acknowledged that when a government agency introduces a regulatory change, it directly impacts the prices and obligations laid out in such contracts. While it's true that Adani Power didn't immediately notify about the change in law after the notification was issued, the Supreme Court did not treat this delay as a valid reason to deny compensation. The court clarified that the purpose of the PPA's change in law clause is to ensure cost recovery when circumstances beyond the parties' control arise. Rajasthan's discoms argued that the ruling grants Adani an undue advantage. However, Adani countered that it wasn't a profit but a reimbursement of increased costs. Coal India's new levy had raised the cost of power generation, and without compensation, the producer would incur losses. The ruling establishes two key takeaways. First, Adani Power is now fully entitled to receive 186 crore in compensation. Second, state discoms must recognize that contracts aren't mere formalities. They represent enforceable legal obligations that must be honored. A major question that arose during the entire process was whether such petitions in court are genuinely filed for justice or simply to exert financial pressure. In the case of Adani Power, it was alleged that the company itself was responsible for the delay. However, the Supreme Court ultimately held that the core issue was a change in law, and compensation was warranted accordingly. This landmark verdict is expected to have a ripple effect on other power purchase agreements as well. Several other power producers might now cite this judgment as precedent to claim compensation for cost increases due to regulatory notifications or levies imposed in the past. While this provides relief to power generation companies, it could also increase the financial burden on discoms, distribution companies. It's also important to note that Adani Power's project is not a small operation. Its 1,200 megawatts capacity plays a key role in ensuring electricity supply stability for a state like Rajasthan. Had the cost not been reimbursed, it could have jeopardized operations, ultimately affecting consumers. That's why the Supreme Court's verdict is not just a win for Adani, it serves the broader public interest too. It reinforces the idea that such large infrastructure projects are only sustainable when laws are respected and contractual obligations are honored. And for Anil Ambani? His business group has long been under the shadow of financial distress. Although this case isn't directly linked to Reliance Infrastructure or any of his other enterprises, the verdict certainly brings psychological relief for his broader business empire. It also sends a clear message to investors and entrepreneurs alike that if contracts are sound and the legal interpretation is accurate, justice can prevail even after delays.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.